Today's webinar is titled How to Get Positioned for Promotion. Our guest presenter is RIT alumna Brenda M. Cunningham, CEO of Push Career Management, LLC. Brenda is also a certified professional resume writer, a certified job search strategist, a credentialed career manager, and a recognized expert in the field of career services. Her company provides career strategy services to individuals and outplacement services to major corporate brands, including Gold Canyon International and Nammo Talley, a Department of Defense manufacturing company. The author of Crush the Pink Slip, Get Back to Work in 60 Days, Brenda is on a mission to provide practical resources to professionals in career transition. Brenda couples her technical background in electrical engineering and project management with her encouraging, tough love approach to serve professionals on their climb up the corporate ladder and back into the workplace. She is the president of Resume Writers Council of Arizona, and she served on the board of the National Resume Writers Association for 3 years. Brenda loves to build confidence in professionals who won't accept just any job, but who are ready to push for their ideal careers and the pay they deserve. Brenda, thank you for joining us today. For the second time, you are a returning webinar presenter, and for sharing your knowledge of how to get positioned for promotion. The audience is all yours, Brenda.
Very good. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for having me back again, Cindy, and to the RIT Alumni Association. Just a very big honor to be able to come here and share more career-focused information with my fellow RIT alums. So thank you very much there. Now, let's jump in. I don't want to waste any time. There is a handout, and you'll look at that after the fact. That's just how to engage with me if you have additional questions on after we're done here today. But let me state that this is not just for people who want a title change or specifically a promotion. This program is also for people who know that they are severely underpaid, and so the content in this presentation will also apply to you if you are preparing for a salary negotiation or you're ready to really talk about dollars and cents in your career. So just pay attention whether or not you are looking for an actual title increase as well. All right. And with that said, here we go. How to get positioned for promotion. All right. Now, sometimes I'm going to say we're on this kind of ready, aim, fire theme today. And how do you even get ready for this conversation? Sometimes people assume that they are supposed to be climbing a corporate ladder, and I will be the first to tell you that not everyone is cut out for leadership. Not everyone who is amazing at their job as an individual contributor should be leading other people. And so let's first always assess if this is something that's even necessary for you, if this is something that is even good for you. And so let's talk about a few things just in order to get ready mentally and some things that we can do to be prepared. Because again, so many people want to just skip this step, get promoted, but one of the most important questions you could ever ask yourself is why? And so one of the things that I'm doing right now, I'm questioning everything. Question everything is just one of my new mottos. And so are you simply pursuing promotion because that's what someone else expects? Because that's what you've always been told, because that was always the programming that has been installed in your brain straight out of RIT or straight out of college. Is that always just been what you've been expecting? Or is that something that you truly want? And so make sure you're asking yourself, why? Why am I even going down this road right now? Am I perfectly content where I am? And maybe I just need to take on a little bit more responsibility and have a pay increase, but the work that I'm doing, I still love it. I'm still challenged by it, and a promotion is not an absolute in the cards for me right now. Okay, because we've all heard of the amazing individual contributor that was thrust into management only to fail, right? People, oh, I have such a bad boss. Oh, he's an imbecile. Oh, she's incompetent. And we're hearing these things because these people were not necessarily destined for leadership. And so just make sure that you are questioning everything and make sure you know why you're doing it. Do you even need a promotion? All right. Do you love your work? Do you love the work? Do you love the industry? Do you love the people that you're working with? Or has it become just a habit, right? Is it something that you've just done because this has been your routine for the last 10 years, for the last 20 years? Or is this something that you genuinely adore and you know that you can make a bigger impact if you started to make that rise or the ascent up the corporate ladder? And so make sure that you're thinking that through as well. But let's look at this next point, counting the cost, right? So few people will take the time to think about the difference that a promotion will make on their family, right? On their personal health. I had a boss once who was forever on call. He could never just be disconnected. He would be at dinner with his family on a Friday night and end up on a conference call for an hour. It would be Sunday night and he's texting me and paging me. Well, this was back in the day, y'all, but paging me, on Sunday night. Like, when do you stop? When do you get to pause and enjoy the fruits of all of this work that you've been doing for so long, right? And so making sure that you're counting those costs, it will require more time at work. Right? There is more visibility, and that's not always necessarily a good thing. More visibility sometimes just translates to more eyes on your errors. And so there are higher expectations of accountability, and make sure you really just have the juice to lead other people and that you have that thicker skin already being developed, because the criticism will be sharper, right? And it will be aimed directly at you now. There will be no other management here to kind of shield you from some of the pain. You will be the one taking on the brunt of that, of those criticisms. So make sure that you're prepared, again, mentally, time-wise. Is your family on board? Do they understand that you are now going to have to put in some extra time? Yes, the paycheck will be a little bit larger, but is it worth it if I never get to see the people that I love? And so make sure that you understand either how to balance yourself once you're there, or that there will be some sacrifices needed in order for you to remain there and do well once you've reached that new level. Okay? And then we talk about try before you buy. Try it. Act as the boss, right? When the boss is out of town, be the interim, be the one who ultimately has to make a decision in the absence of someone else. And so one of the things that I would suggest for you guys that are right on the cusp, thinking about promotion, thinking about your career in a very serious way, take on projects. Take on projects that expose you to that next level of responsibility. Someone I know who is a leader in the insurance industry, she has, now she's been a client and she has aspirations of yet another climb up the corporate ladder. She's already in the leadership ranks, but she wants to go further into that kind of director level, right? And so what kind of specific things can we do right now that is going to expose me to that next level? One thing that I advised her to do was start sitting in on interviews when other people are being interviewed at her current level. She needs to be in the room. And guys, we've got to stop asking for permission. If you know that interviews are going on, show up and say, you know what, I'm really hungry. You guys know that I want to be at this next level, and so one of the things that I want to do is expose myself to the decisions that are being made at this next level. And so having the guts and the boldness to speak up, to show up, and to do what is absolutely necessary. And so think of things in terms of projects that you can take on? Are there kind of enterprise-wide projects that you can volunteer for, right? What a crazy novel idea. I'm going to raise my hand and volunteer for something that could affect the entire company. Again, all eyes are going to be on me, but I'm showing my mettle as a leader. I'm demonstrating that I can act like a boss when it comes down to it, that I have the juice to lead other people that are at my present level. And so don't forget about all of these things as you are endeavoring to kind of embark upon this rise up the corporate ladder. But lastly, know your goal. You absolutely must. Anybody that may have joined us last year, we were talking about LinkedIn and my book, Crush the Pink Slip, Get Back to Work in 60 Days. Even in that book, the first section of the book is titled Goals. You can't go anywhere if you don't know where you're going. It's not about I just want to be a director. Why? Why? Have you even thought through what that looks like? Do you know the difference between the director and the VP level? Do you understand exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish, and again, why? Are you in the right industry? Are you in the right department? Okay, and so understand with specificity your exact goal. Where exactly do you want to be, and when do you want to get there, right? And so understanding your goal is absolutely an essential piece of this equation. And so, okay, sorry here, my slides are a little out of order. Okay, so yeah, these are all absolutely essential pieces, and I want to make sure that you've thought them through before we get ready to aim. And so now we're aiming. Now we've gotten ourselves ready, we're mentally prepared, we know what we're trying to accomplish, and now it's time to start this kind of execution mode, right? We got to get ourselves in gear. We've got some work to do to demonstrate to other people that we are in fact qualified or in fact ready for this next move. And so I'm going to give you some very specific things that we could be doing here. So first and foremost, you can and you should be using LinkedIn to advance your career. This is just not even optional anymore, guys. LinkedIn it's not some fun social media. I'm going to just post what I'm doing this weekend, post some cute little inspirational meme. LinkedIn, if used well, should be a very powerful force in your campaign for career advancement. Let me tell you what that means. If I look at your profile and I see your activities and I see that you haven't posted anything in a year, I see that you're liking things that are completely irrelevant and scattered. You're not focused. I have no idea what your specialty is. You're not connected with other leaders. You're not taking this thing seriously. You thought LinkedIn was just a game. You thought you could just show up, somebody told you to build a profile, so you built one, and you never looked back. And I am here to set the record straight. This is not an option for you when you want to win. Okay? Now, liking things about fish dinners and football games when you are you're an engineer. I would rather see you liking and commenting and sharing and posting things that are absolutely relevant to engineering. Things that show me and demonstrate to me that you are more than just showing up for work to get your paycheck. You are showing up, you're ready, you understand what's coming down the pipeline of things, and you really have your thumb on the pulse of your industry, and I can now be impressed. And now as the VP of the organization, I can look in on you and say, this person is paying attention, and they are going to take our organization to new heights. And so you can do that, and it doesn't even need to be a huge, deep thing. Take a few moments each day, and we'll talk about, I have a little gift for you at the end, but take a few moments here and make sure you have some time set aside in your days to really make a name for yourself on LinkedIn. And that does mean making sure that you are creating the right kind of perception and brand for yourself through the content that you choose to share and participate in. But also, don't forget about the other side of LinkedIn. You can use it to tackle some of the tough problems that you're going to face at work. You guys, you're going to deal with some things that you've never dealt with before. Some things on a whole new kind of stratosphere. You've never been there. You've never been at this new level. And so how could you possibly be expected to just come in knowing everything at 100%? And the answer is you can't. And you aren't. And so use LinkedIn as a strategic tool for you to reach out to other leaders, other people who do what you do or who have done what you are doing, and pick their brain and seek out their expertise so that you don't have to take 3 weeks and read 8 books and attend 4 workshops for something that you could have asked a question and got an answer within minutes. Okay? And so make sure that you are using this tool to its full potential. And we're going to talk more about what specifically you could be doing on LinkedIn as we get to the end here. Now, understanding your metrics, right? I cannot overemphasize how many times I meet with a client and I say, well, how did you know if you were doing a good job? What were your key metrics? And their answer to me is, well, my boss didn't yell at me, so I must be doing okay. Or I've survived another layoff, I must be doing all right. And that, my friends, is not an answer. It's not an answer. You absolutely must take ownership of knowing and understanding your metrics and your bottom line contributions to your organization, to your industry, to your department. Whatever that means, know your numbers, right? We think about business owners as the only people that are supposed to know their numbers. No, you've got to know your numbers too. How many students do you support? How many engineers do you manage? What kinds of budgets do you oversee? Okay, what are the yields that you are expected to produce in your manufacturing environment? What were they before you started? What are they now? You better have a really strong grip on what those things look like, on what the numbers are that matter to your organization. This is not up for debate. You've got to know your numbers, your metrics. These things become extremely valuable when you are updating your resume. These things are, of course, extremely valuable when you're sitting in a performance review, trying to communicate to your boss why you should be paid more, right? Trying to communicate to your boss why you believe you are ready for that next level. Well, here, let me show you the difference that I've already made. And you can't do that if you're not tracking anything. You can't do that if you're just kind of floating through work, doing what you're told, and you don't understand what difference it makes. This is absolutely essential, guys. And so one of the specific things that I would recommend here is that you keep a journal. Right? Now, I'm not going all psychological on you, but a journal can be as simple as a little spiral notebook that you keep. And every time you do something special, every time you hit an internal goal, every time you finish a new project, every time you launch a new product, every time you finish a research program, every time you do something substantial, one of those write home to mom moments. Write the details down in this journal. Write down how many people were involved, what kinds of dollars were involved, what kind of timeline was expected versus what we were able to actually accomplish, right? Are you a project manager? Did you do it on time? Did you do it on budget? What was the budget? Because I'll tell you, there are $5,000 project managers and there are $86 billion project managers. Which one are you? And the only way that you're going to be able to convince me that you're this high caliber project manager or engineer or sonographer or whatever it is that you do, the only way that you can convince me is when you start to show me the numbers and you offer up some evidence that makes it very tangible for me. And so you must know your metrics. Does this make sense, you guys? Please chime in with questions. Don't be shy. If I'm saying something that's not making sense or going too fast or anything like that, please let us know, and we'll be sure to address those questions in real time. No need to wait all the way till the end. All right, but with that, I'll move on because you do have to stay visible, right? Now we're about to go a little deep here, so stay with me. Stay visible. Do you even look the part? Do you look the part? This is a very sensitive area. I'm not talking about, are you an African-American woman with natural hair, you don't fit in this environment. I'm not talking about that. I wrote an article about that. Check that out, please, if you're interested. But do you look the part? Do you show up well put together? Are you on time? Are you early? Right? Are you always just stressed out and looking tired and kind of raggedy at work? Because if you can't handle your current workload, if that's defeating you, what in the world makes you think you're going to excel at the next level? Okay? Looking the part is absolutely something that you need to be paying attention to. Look the part, right? There is a dress code. I don't like it any more than you do, but there is a dress code, right? Once you start reaching executive ranks, you start showing up in just any old kind of raggedy garments, and you're not going to be accepted. And so I just want you to be mindful. What's the uniform for your industry, right? Maybe you're a rebel, and you don't mind, and you're good. Do you? But please understand that perceptions are being made every single time you walk in the door, right? And you look like you just rolled out of bed, and that's just not going to cut it. Okay? Now, are you bringing solutions? One of the most important lessons that I learned early in my own career was to never just complain about something that's not working. Never. Never. I had a boss that wouldn't even hear me out if I didn't also bring with me at least 3 potential solutions. Don't just vent to me. Don't just complain to me. Offer up a better way. If this isn't working, tell me what will. And this is your job. Okay? Y'all, come on now. My company's name is Push Career Management. That it's not about being pushy. It's about doing the work. It's about doing the hard work. I care about you. I care about your success. I want you to win, and I want you to do it quickly. So you've got to do your part, and you've got to study some things out. You've got to do some research in advance. You've got to be brainstorming. Sometimes ideas are going to come to you at night, and you've got to have a will strong enough to snap yourself out of a sleep and at least jot down some notes, some things that you're dreaming about. You have some ideas. Your work should be that important to you that you're thinking about it even in the off hours. Not that it's ruling you, not that it's controlling you, but it can't just be, I showed up at 8, I left at 5, I got my check, I'm done. You've got to be owning this thing. Nobody's going to promote you if you don't have that ownership attitude. And so bringing solutions, to me, it demonstrates that ownership attitude. Okay, it means you've thought some things through, that you are not just a complainer. Because let's be candid, who wants to be branded the complainer? Never have a good idea, but you're shooting everybody else's ideas down Well, come up with your own. Okay? All right. Now I'm going to go there. Details, spelling, grammar, public speaking. I can't have you lead my people if you are illiterate or very close to it. I don't, listen, some of the brightest minds can't spell, can't understand just kind of basic grammar. And their emails are full of mistakes. They're full of, the wrong word, there and there. We're using the wrong one. We're using the wrong your. That's not okay. As you begin to, you are now the leader that you're going to be influencing other people. Are you telling me, are you suggesting to me that it is okay to be careless in our communications? Is that what you're suggesting? Are you suggesting that? So understand how much value is placed on the little things like spelling, like your ability to run a meeting, right? Not be all nervous and scared, right? You are the leader and everybody is looking to you. And if you struggle with that, again, a great option would be for you to look into a group called Toastmasters. You may have heard of it, maybe you haven't, but Toastmasters will help you to develop more confidence in your public speaking abilities. And a lot of leaders, a lot of emerging leaders will actually go through Toastmasters and develop those public speaking skills. And I've seen a lot of executive leaders that actually will invest in their people to go through a Toastmasters program. And so take a look at some Toastmasters options in your area. They have tons and tons of chapters all over the world. So you'd be really hard pressed to not be able to find something that you can plug into. All right. And then stop holding on to past accomplishments. We're still talking about staying visible. Right? You did this one wonderful thing 3 years ago, and you're still walking around the office bragging about that thing as if it was the last thing. And it's not the last thing. You can't keep holding on to this old stuff. Create some new accomplishments. Tackle some new challenge. Take on a new program. It's okay. It's okay, right? Give yourself a little moment to breathe. Some of these bigger projects are going to take a lot out of you, right? You might have to take a vacation, just refresh, recoup, and come on back ready to rock and roll. But come on back ready to rock and roll. Stop holding on to that old stuff, right? It's awesome. Great. Get it on your resume, but let's move on. Let's create some new content for yourself. Okay? And then make sure you've earned it. I'm not done. I'm not done on this slide. We got still some more work to do here, but make sure you've earned that thing. Again, how can I articulate that I've earned it if I don't understand my metrics? I don't bring solutions to the table. I haven't done anything lately. I'm still holding on to old wins. Make sure you've earned that thing. You say you want a promotion. You say you want a salary increase. Why? I'm not going to give you a pay increase simply because you like to buy Gucci bags. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to give you a pay increase when you have demonstrated to me the impact you made to my bottom line repeatedly. Repeatedly. You keep showing up. You keep bringing the best ideas. You keep showing up looking the part. You keep demonstrating that you have a mastery of grammar and public speaking. You keep bringing these bright, innovative, wonderful, and effective solutions. You have a network beyond this company. People know you. When I'm out at conferences, I hear your name. It comes up. And it's a good thing. People recognize you as an expert. And so that brings me to the next point. Visibility also means networking. And I know that's a word that a lot of people don't like to hear. And you're so busy. We're so busy. We got fires to fight at work. I got so much work. I'm so tired, right? I know you said it. I said it before. I'll probably say it again before the day I die. It's a dreaded word. A lot of people truly dislike the thought of networking, but it's absolutely necessary. If no one knows you, who will even vouch for you? Who will fight for your seat at the table on your behalf? You must have advocates. These are internal people, right? Mentors, sponsors, all these terms. You've heard them before. I'm not going to go down a vocabulary lesson. You've heard these terms. You know that you need people fighting for you inside. What about outside of your company? Who do you know? And more importantly, who in the world knows you? Okay? If all you know are the people in your walls, I'm going to go there because this is a reality that we face. What happens when there are layoffs at your company? This is a hard reality. Nobody wants to hear about it. Nobody wants to talk about it, but it is the world that we live in. And so why not be better prepared? As a leader, it's going to benefit you greatly to have a large network of other experts and other leaders that you can lean on for answers and guidance and support. But it is also going to benefit you in the long run for your career if there should ever be a time where layoffs became necessary. Because if your job just went away, you've got to go elsewhere. If your whole department was just wiped out, who else in the world do you know? If all you know are the people who did your same job at your same company, how is that going to help you? And so understanding that networking is not just a nice thing to do. It's not just something that I'm just kind of telling you, oh, it would be fun, it would be great, it would be helpful. It is essential. Network. Get out there. That doesn't mean go and be like a snake oil salesman and just be handing your business card out to a whole bunch of people. It means striking up conversations with people. You absolutely never know who you're talking to. People talk to me, now I live in Phoenix, Arizona now, and this is known as a call center mecca. Lots of call centers right here in Phoenix, Arizona. Call center and manufacturing kind of our top industries here. But because a lot of folks, they maybe desire to work in a call center, not necessarily as a rep or what have you, but for whatever role they want to play, they want to work in a call center. And so they might think, well, there's no value in me connecting with Brenda. She doesn't work in a call center. What difference would that make? But what you don't know is that Brenda's husband is a leader at a call center and can influence hiring decisions all across the board. And you didn't know that. And so you thought I was just another person you were talking to in the grocery store, when in fact I ended up being the key difference maker in your career advancement. Okay? And so don't forget about networking. Right? If y'all have more questions about what that is, let me know. But you'll see, again, a little bit more detail there in the little free resource that I have at the end for you. But then, of course, I would be remiss not to mention all of these results and metrics and solutions and innovative ideas that you've shared. Make sure these things are also well written in your resume. Okay? September, so next month is National Update Your Resume Month, and so this is just a PSA. Update your resume at least once a year, because I don't know about you, but I can barely remember what I had for lunch yesterday, let alone the specific details of a project that I worked on 2 years ago. And so it's got to remain fresh. It's got to be something that's just always top of mind, and I want you to really be intentional about keeping your resume up to date. And if you happen to not know how to talk about yourself, I happen to know a very excellent professional resume writer That's a joke, but not really, because that's me. And so tap into the resources that you guys have at your disposal, right? You now have access to me, and I do invite each and every one of you listening or who will later on join in on the recording to connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Brenda M. Cunningham. All right, and then a couple other nuggets that I want to share with you. Leaders are readers, right? So as we're aiming, as we're getting ourselves in position for these promotions, we understand the need to constantly be developing ourselves. Constantly, right? We don't just show up, do the job, go home, and we're done. We invest time, sometimes outside of the work hours. We read books to make sure that we have new perspectives on maybe old scenarios. We read periodicals to make sure that we understand what's coming down, what new technologies are in the works, what's being developed right now, what can ultimately help me do the work that I do faster, better, right, maybe at a lower cost. And so it is your job to be paying attention. So read like your career depends on it. Read books, read journals, go to conferences, read articles, read blogs, right? These companies, they're putting out all of these blogs and nobody's reading them. Why? Why aren't you reading white papers? Why aren't you understanding what's going on and what the next best thing is? Know it for yourself and spark up some meaningful conversation that shows me you are a true thought leader and not just a worker bee. These are absolute essentials, okay? And just some other nuggets of feedback that I got as I went out and surveyed some other leaders in the community and just got a few points of feedback that I want to share with you, some things that you should be considering from an existing leader's perspective. One was eliminate entitlement. This is not just a thing for millennials, right? We keep blaming, they keep getting the short end of the stick there. It's not just them. It's this entitlement thing. Well, I've been here 5 years. I'm supposed to get a promotion by now. No, you're not. No. Just because you've put in the time doesn't mean that you've done the work, doesn't mean that you've demonstrated what differences you've made, doesn't mean that you tend to bring solutions and you pay attention to detail and you've had, again, repeatable accomplishments. Doesn't mean that you've earned it simply because you've survived a few rounds of layoffs. And so eliminate that whole entitlement mindset that just because you've paid your dues or you've put in your time, that somehow it is your turn. It is up to you to actually demonstrate why you should be the one chosen for that role. Okay. The second one was be a leader before you lead others. So kind of went back to acting as the leader, being the interim leader, stepping up and saying, hey, I know you're going on vacation in a couple of weeks. I'd like to act in your stead, right? You may have selected somebody else to be the head chief while you're gone, but I'd like to put my name in the hat just so I can start to develop that leadership muscle so that I can get myself in the habit of making good, well-informed decisions and so that I can hear and be a part of some of the kinds of challenges and issues that you face as a leader, and I can start to, again, thicken my skin a little bit and really challenge myself to get there. So act like a leader before you lead others. And that does mean taking initiative, stepping up, and for goodness sake, stop waiting for permission to do that, right? You don't have to wait until your boss asks or invites you to be the interim lead or what have you. You go and you raise your hand and you say, this is what I'd like to do when you're going to be out of the office. It is up to you to know, again, if you know what you want and you understand the steps that are required of you, then go raise your hand and go get that thing. And then the third piece of feedback was say something. It sounds so simple, but often we don't ever communicate our desire for more in our career. It is absolutely necessary for you to communicate your career plan. Have those kinds of candid conversations, and then work with your boss or develop something on your own and revise it with your boss, but develop an action plan. Okay? So saying something, nobody in this day and age is going to read your mind and assume that you want to be a leader of other people. And so it is up to you to say so. All right. And then it's time to fire. Okay? Like I said, we got to ask for it. Now, one very practical nugget I'm going to share with you is something that you should be doing before you ask. And that is study the job descriptions for that next level. Sounds like common sense. Of course everybody knows that, but no, they don't. No, they don't. They don't teach you that in school, and if nobody ever showed you how to navigate corporate America, how would you have ever known? Look at job descriptions for the next level and make sure you understand what the skills are that are needed for that new space, right? Sometimes that means I'm not ready for a promotion yet. They're looking for a more well-rounded individual, and so sometimes I need to make a more strategic lateral move. That might make better sense for me right now, right? Because that will help me develop this other side of the skill set so that I can be in position when it's time for promotion, right? Promotion doesn't necessarily mean I got to get it right now. Promotion might mean I want to get there by the year 2020, okay? And so make sure that you're thinking through sometimes I might need to take a step sideways, and that will enable me to take a step forward. Okay? So for example, if you've been an engineer, now you want to be a marketing director, an internal move to the marketing department, or starting to attend some of the sales or marketing meetings, that's going to be beneficial for you, right? Who wants to add more meetings to their day? Well, sometimes you're going to have to. Okay? And so just understand that sometimes that step to the side is going to be how you leap forward. And keep that in mind, that study of job descriptions is so important. And it's something that's often overlooked and not done very often. So just make sure that you incorporate that into your kind of promotion preparation planning. But again, as you're beginning to ask for the promotion, your job, schedule the one-on-one with the decision maker. And the decision maker is not always your boss. Okay? You know what you want to do. Now it's time to communicate that thing. Okay? Out of respect, I would have a conversation with your boss and let he or she know, here's where I want to be in a couple of years, and here's my kind of game plan to get there. But schedule the conversation with that person. And here's how the conversation could go. I'm looking to be at the management level by the end of the year. What things, in your opinion, need to be in place in order for that to get in motion? Or you could say, right, because you've now started the conversation. At our last conversation, we discussed putting a promotion in place. I wanted to update you, a promotion plan in place, and I wanted to update you. Okay? I want to give you a kind of a status check. Now, what is a realistic timetable for this next step, right? Put some of the ownership on them, but never let go of the ball. Keep that ball in your court at all times, okay? And so then you're paying attention. And we talk about knowing when it's time to move on. Think about these indicators. What things tell you that, hey, they're just paying me a whole bunch of lip service. I'm not actually going to get a promotion here. When all of your deadlines have passed and they keep giving you excuses, right? Now, it's a little different if you know that your company is bureaucratic, they're a slow-moving kind of behemoth machine. That's a little bit different if you know that they have a slower culture of making decisions. But if it's kind of in growth mode, they tend to make really fast decisions, and yet they keep giving you kind of the string along, no, that something is going on here. Something is happening, and it's not looking good. And so I think I need to expand my radius here, okay? But at all costs, stay authentic. Don't do these things that we see on TV, these brown-nosing, throwing colleagues under the bus, taking credit where you haven't earned it. These things will absolutely backfire on you. It may not happen now, but it will happen someday. And this is indicative of the type of future leader that you will be. You might win, but you might win temporarily, but eventually it comes back around when your team retention becomes a problem, right? You haven't earned that leadership rank, and people leave. Because people, I've seen this thing on LinkedIn a couple of times, people don't leave bad jobs, they leave bad bosses. Okay? Make sure you're not a bad boss. Okay? And then as we wrap, because I want to leave some time for any questions that you all may have, just to recap, make sure you're actually ready for it and make sure you really want it. Promotions aren't for everybody. Some people go their whole careers and remain an individual contributor, and that's exactly the right place for them. Okay? Show how you've earned it. Remember to keep up with your metrics and understand not only your metrics, but the metrics that matter to your organization, right? So I don't care if you have these wonderful statistics and they are the wrong things to be working on, it won't be helping you. And so be checking in and gauging your projects and your metrics with the values and the things that are emphasized at the highest levels in your organization. That's how you're going to be demonstrating value. Of course, you're going to ask for these promotions. Got to ask for it. Got to open your mouth and stop just thinking people are going to assume that this is what you want. Ask for it, use your words, start the conversation, schedule the one-on-ones, and do what is necessary to get that conversation started. And then look at this. Stay relevant once you get there, right? And so I don't want you to just become a leader of people. Go to that next level for you and your career. You've got to stay relevant. Keep those tabs on the industry so that you remain in the loop and you can be a part of the strategic kind of road mapping conversations, right? Keep reading, keep attending courses, keep networking, keep meeting new people even outside of the walls of your company. Don't stop learning now, right? Continue to take the leadership development courses even once you reach those ranks, because you want to continue to get better and better. And if necessary, invest in yourself, right? We've seen a lot of training and development budgets be cut as our economy kind of nationwide has gone through some cycles. Invest in yourself if you must. Your company won't pay for that certification. You get it. Your company won't pay for that training class. You put up the dollars. Pay your own way if necessary, okay? If your key customer is in another part of the country and your company has moved travel expenses and you know that the key to securing that account is for you to do some face-to-face time, then buy your own plane ticket, darn it. Show me that you've got the juice to lead and take this organization into a new level. And then this bonus. Finally get to the bonus I talked about. So remember, we talked a lot about LinkedIn. We talked about how it can benefit you with networking, with the professional development, and with establishing your professional brand. And so I wanted to make sure to leave you with a resource that will help you accomplish just that. It is a free ebook, so no strings attached. I don't need you to buy anything from me today. All right, LinkedIn ebook. The website is there, pushcareermanagement.com/resources. and go grab your copy, your free copy of How to Use LinkedIn in 15 Minutes Per Day, so that you can be strategic and really get some things in motion for yourselves on LinkedIn as a tool. And then another book recommendation that I have for you emerging leaders, it's a book by Carla Harris, and it's called Expect to Win. So I strongly recommend that book. She addresses a number of things from perception to how to select the right mentor, and just a lot of factors as it relates to kind of career management. And so I do strongly suggest that as a resource for you. And then stay tuned. I'll be releasing an upcoming book soon on how to climb the corporate ladder as well. So just be on the lookout for that in the coming months. And then finally, let's stay connected, right? Here's all my contact details. Again, you do have a handout with some additional ways to engage with me. And so connect with me. Thank you for attending. Don't forget, September is Update Your Resume month, and so be very intentional about scheduling time. Put it on your calendar and build in some time into your life. Take it maybe on a Saturday, maybe Sunday night, whatever it takes, but get that resume back up to date and account for these key metrics and all of these wonderful projects and all of the details that I need to influence my decision to make sure you can join the ranks of leadership as you progress through your career. And with that, again, I thank you very much for attending, and I do open up the floor for any questions that you may have.
Thanks, Brenda. Some questions have come in. The first one is, setting goals has always been very difficult for me. What tools and resources would you suggest?
Setting goals, particularly in your career, let's see. I know there's a section in Crush the Pink Slip, Get Back to Work in 60 Days, where we talk about actually creating your career plan. And so there are elements of how to, create your goals. There are a number of just kind of online resources as well. I'm looking right now just kind of at my bookshelf to see if some of the book titles stand out when it comes to setting goals. Now, I read a lot of business books, so let me kind of preface it with that. But there's another book, and it's called No Excuses by Brian Tracy. That one is really powerful just in terms of not procrastinating, using your time wisely, how to set SMART goals, that sort of thing. Because we've heard that statement, we've heard about SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-bound. But then there are some other elements, like did you even consider the cost of that goal? Do you have the budget to afford that thing? And so I think Brian Tracy, and then I believe, if I look really quickly, I think it's hold on, I'm going to tell you right now. I think it's day 3 in my book, Crush the Pink Slip, Get Back to Work in 60 Days. And so start there and see if you still have any additional questions. And then, of course, I'll invite you to reach out to me, through LinkedIn or all these other means if you're still not getting the answers that you're looking for.
Okay, thank you. A question came in just now. This individual who's attending had a managerial opportunity too early in his career and ultimately fell short. After 10 more years of individual contribution, am I likely to be HR red flagged for future management positions based on the past?
So let me ask for some clarity there. Did you actually move into management and you feel like you failed and you moved back into individual contributorship? Or you never successfully transitioned into management?
I don't know.
Okay, I just wanted to see if that person would chime back in, but let me assume for a moment that they never transitioned into management and they have been an individual contributor for the entire time. There is no red flag there, but again, now would be the right time for you to start the conversations with the powers that be in your organization to say, you know what, I feel like I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I know this opportunity came a while back, but I feel like I'm ready now. And here are some specific things that I've done to demonstrate that. What can we do to get the ball in motion? Because I'd really like to move myself into that next rung, by early 2019. And so putting that specific date on it and letting them know, hey, I'm ready. And so, again, be upfront about it, have the conversation, but don't get in your own way, and don't allow those kind of internal thoughts to keep you from even trying. Go for it, do it now, and then put a timeline on it. If you're not seeing the results that you're looking for, then that's one of those indicators that means it might be time to start looking outside of that organization.
Okay, thank you. This individual writes, I struggle with self-confidence. What are some strategies for being more confident at work?
Ooh, good. Well, for me, you guys, my primary advice is going to be pray, but that assumes that there's a spiritual side of you. If there is not a spiritual side of you, there are some practical things that you can do to be more confident. And that does mean that I remember dealing with that myself and always kind of feeling like I was a fraud, or I didn't really know as much as the other people did, or whatever the case may be. And so instead of just always asking questions, always kind of second-guessing myself, I began the process of just doing the research on my own. And so if there was ever something that was said, somebody used a word or an acronym that I didn't know, I did the research before I asked anybody else, oh, well, what does that mean? And I started to feel like, hey, I've got a say-so in this thing. I'm in control here. Oh, yeah, I did kind of forget that for a little bit. And you might need to just surround yourself and, put people in your, as my pastor is talking about recently, put people in your inner circle that uplift you, that do hold you accountable, right? You don't want yes people in your circle, but people that are going to challenge you, people that are going to remind you how wonderful you are, and people that are going to say, hey, that was the wrong decision. Get back on track, and here's how you do it. And they're going to do so in a loving way. So surrounding yourself with the right people will absolutely make a difference for you if prayer is not an option for you. And then there are some book options. It's a little still bit on the spiritual side, but it's a book called The Confident Woman by Joyce Meyer. Strongly suggest that book. It's amazing, and you will just walk away feeling like you want to flex your muscles all day long, and then you got to go out there and get that thing. And so make sure that you start investing in some more of those kind of motivational books and even workshops and conferences. There was a season for me that I attended a lot of just motivational conferences because I did need to get my self-esteem uplifted. And then that season was over because I felt like I had gotten to the place that I was supposed to be. So invest if necessary in a Tony Robbins event or whatever the case may be, but get yourself surrounded with the right kind of influences and the right kinds of people and the right kinds of information, and it will do wonders for your soul, for your confidence, and you are going to start to show up in a stronger way at work, I promise.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock Eastern, but I will read one more question, Brenda.
Yes.
What is your advice related to filing EEOC claims? I fear by doing this I will hurt my own career. However, I also believe it is the right thing to do. Can you comment on that?
Discrimination is real, and so I don't want you to feel like you can't pursue legal action if it's absolutely necessary. Have a conversation with your HR department. And if you feel really, really nervous even about that, then first I would consult with an employment law specialist. And these people, that's their whole job. They know the ins and outs of the law, and they can tell you if there's even the slightest hint of a case there, right? Do you even have a leg to stand on, or is this kind of maybe in your imagination, or it's not something that we can enforce in any way? And so I would consult with an employment law specialist. I know one, her name is Lori Brown. She's here in Phoenix, Arizona. Check her out and just let her know I referred you and you had some questions there. But then otherwise, engage with your HR department. Their job is to keep those kinds of conversations confidential. Make sure you state that they are confidential conversations. And then I would begin the process of documenting everything. any kind of conversation that you're having with the boss where promises were made. You document it and you send it in an email to that person. And then now you are starting to create a record, and you have some very specific things that you can refer to if you should engage with an actual attorney or if a lawsuit does commence.
Okay, we're after the hour, and to be respectful of time, we are going to be wrapping. But there are questions that have come in, so we will push those questions over to Brenda, and we will get you answers. So some of you who just put things in, don't worry, you will get answers, I promise. And if you have additional questions, please email them to ritalum@rit.edu. We will get those over to Brenda, and I'm hoping she will graciously give us some answers that we could push back out to each of you who send a question in. I'd like to thank Brenda for joining us today for the second time for this wonderfully informative webinar, and thanks to all of you for joining. Apologies for being a little over. The next webinar is not for a couple weeks. It's Wednesday, September 19th, and I encourage you all to put this on your calendar. David Carson, who's an RIT alumnus and a photojournalist and a Pulitzer Prize-winning photojournalist, will be here to talk about his witness to the birth of a new civil rights movement and his work for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch following the 2014 police shooting in Ferguson, Missouri, and the protests that ensued in the days following. Look for your invite in your email box. Thanks again to everyone. Thanks to Brenda. You can exit by closing the WebEx window. Please take the very brief and anonymous survey at the end that will pop up and let us know how we did today. Thank you all, and have a great day.